Right, next job on the list. So it's time to do some seam sealing. We need to seam seal all along the top of the bulkhead there. Little bit up the sides. Need to get that ready for paint, and there's some seam sealing to do on the front of the toe board where it meets the floor pan. So for the seam sealing, we're going to be using a brushable seam sealer. This is what I've used in the past, U-Pole grey stripe. It's 1K, so it's air drying. Always works very, very well, that stuff. That can is, I think, empty though. There's only a bit in the bottom. It might have gone hard by now. It's from last year. And I've got a brand new fresh tin of HB body. Never used this stuff before. I bought it off eBay. We'll find out if it's any good. First, let's crack the lid off there and see whether it's all gone hard. I suspect it probably has, because it's air drying, so unless you've got a perfect seal, I'm not going to be able to do this one-handed, am I? Oh, I can. Oh, well, it's not gone off. There's a bit in there. We'll finish up that tin. Don't like to waste. So let's get the bonnet off and then we can start seam sealing. Right, so I didn't use that because it was a bit too gooey once I put the paintbrush in there. So I'm using just a 1-inch brush. Little tip there, because I've done the first bit now, and now I need to mask up the inside to stop that drying, just in a zip tie plastic bag. So there's our seam sealing done. As you can see, I've used masking tape to neaten it up a little bit, and what you must remember to do is take the masking tape off before it dries, because otherwise you'll never get the masking tape off, and that just gives us a nice clean and tidy edge. So there we go, all seam sealed now. It's relatively neat. What I'll try and do is get the seam sealer on. It dries off really, really quickly actually, so you need to be quite quick. And then I'll get a brush and I'll start from one corner and just follow it around like that, so you get one continuous brush stroke rather than dib-dabbing it in, which looks a bit messy. Did have to go round and just need to clear out the holes because they'll get covered over in seam sealer. So yeah, now I've got to do a couple bits down the bottom here. All that bottom half's going to get Gravitex stone chip protectant. But now I've got to go round to the inside, have a good hoover up in here, and then we'll get that all prepped and masked up for seam sealer as well. Right, there's the inside, this side masked up. I don't like to go mad with seam sealer. Some people just paste it over all the welds, but I'm only putting it where there are genuine seams between panels where they overlap. Up here I just need to get in there with a bit of hammerite now, stop that corroding. But yeah, let's whack some seam sealer on there, get this done. Right then, so that's both sides done now. All seam sealed up nicely. And we've just gone over with some hammerite at the top here where we've painted. So that's all looking good. Obviously the inside of the car all needs spraying. We'll have to clean all this back and paint it all. But yeah, I've got a bit carried away and I've done loads more while I was here. So I've done all the underside of the floor pans as well. And I've done up inside the inner wings, so we've got up around that edge there. We've done the seams down the bottom here, on both sides, and like I say, you probably won't see it, but all up and underneath on the floor pan as well. I've probably used half of that tin, maybe not even quite half. Someone was asking what epoxy primer I use. I just bought this stuff off eBay. It's called Pro XL 1K epoxy primer. It dries really quickly, and yeah, it seems to protect okay. I mean, I've not had it on there for too long, but yeah, it seems alright. Dries pretty quickly, and yeah, no rust has come back through. So what next? I think I'm probably going to get the subframe in and get it stripped down, because I need to get the front subframe off to be powder coated. It's just a bit grubby. Oh, and what I want to do, my plans is get the engine base sprayed, subframe powder coated, built back out of all new components. We'll put the subframe back in, so it's back to being a rolling shell again. Right, so seam sealing done. Next up, we turn our attention to the subframe, and I want to get the subframe stripped and sent off. In fact, I've got the front and the rear subframe. The rear subframe is brand new. It's a mini spares one. It's a pattern part. It's not a genuine one. And obviously this one needs shot blasting, and I'm going to get both powder coated as well. I know whenever we talk about powder coating subframes and that, people will always say there's a better, use Pt.40, do this, do that. Yeah, if you're going to use a mini every day, then give it the very best protection you can get. But this car, once it's done, it will be a bit of a show queen. It's not going to go out in the rain, not intentionally. It's not going to be raced or rallied or anything like that. Powder coating gives a really nice finish. I do know it chips off and then you can get corrosion under there. But in all honesty, when this is rebuilt, it will last another 40 years. It's not going to be a daily drive or anything like that. So I'm going to get it powder coated just because it gives a nice finish. So I need to get this all stripped first. A few bits on it first just to note. So it's got rose jointed front tie bars. It's got adjustable camber lower arms. Looks like standard cones. They're not adjustable. And I've had a quick look around it, just checking for things like cracks. You know, these towers can crack up the top here, and you can get cracking on the back there where the subframe mounts go to the floor. Now obviously that did crack all the floor pan, but luckily looking at the subframe itself it looks okay. So I'll probably switch this over to time lapse. We'll get the Dugger gun out and get it all stripped down. I can then get that sent off, and we'll get it shot blasted and powder coated. And obviously once we're stripping apart, I'll have a look at these top arms, see what condition they're in. We've got new cones, we've got high-lows. I'm going to go standard on the bottom arms. These are obviously adjustable, like I say, we'll go standard. So I need to get some bottom arms and some tie rods. So let me go on time lapse and be back in a minute once it's all stripped. Right, so there we go. It's the subframe all stripped. From what I can see, it's all straight. There's no really bad corrosion anywhere. There's no cracks I can see. Looks like that'll be good to go. Bit of corrosion on the top here obviously, but nothing serious. Yeah, I've dropped that off at the powder coaters. And then the bits that have come off. So, these adjustable lower arms and tie rods, they're all, I mean, they're okay. Yeah, rose jointed. They don't have any dust covers over the grease seals, so they're probably a little bit worn out. Top arms, this side is definitely worn out. You can see the pin has got wearing on the pin itself. The other side, just about okay, but I'll probably do the pair of them anyway. They're not that expensive. I think they're a tenner a side. A little bit tricky to do, but we'll refurbish the top arms. Bump stops, both of them need replacing. They're just starting to come unstuck from the mounting point. Obviously we're going to put new high-lows on there. We've got new cones. They're a bit like a pancake them. They're very worn out. And obviously both sides, the lower bump stop, or I don't know what you call that, the rebound stop, but it's not the upper bump stop, it's the lower one which stops the bottom arm bottoming out. The rubber's missing off both of them. Obviously we've got new hoses, we'll make new brake pipes. Yeah, so I chuck all that out into storage, get the subframe shot blasted and powder coated, then it'll be a case of rebuilding. Like I said, I do need to get, I think I've got a pair up in the loft actually, standard arms and tie rods, so I'll use them. So yeah, bit more progress this week. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Please remember to give it a thumbs up if you did. If you want to drop me a comment, I read all the comments and I do reply. And if you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. Thanks once again, and catch you on the next one.